Previously on Drillmaster Tool Charger Repair. Alright, let's plug it into the kilowatt, see what kind of juice we're drawing. This is a more powerful adapter than the one we just fixed. So I'm thinking this is going to charge a lot faster. Oh, look at that. So 450 mils right off the bat. That's 3 times as fast a charge as the other one. So you wouldn't want to leave this on charge very long. That one's a 1 to 3 hour charger. I would say this is going to have everything all done in about 1 hour. Much faster charger. Just an old laptop adapter. It's a Gateway, 24 volt, 1.87 amps. It would work. I like having the original, but this would work just as well. And that got me thinking, if we can charge our batteries with a 20 volt laptop power supply, could we charge them directly off of a solar panel, eliminating the need for a battery bank, eliminating the need for a inverter, eliminating the need for a charge controller, eliminating all that stuff. Just go directly off this solar panel. Well, this is a Thunderbolt panel. Let's check its output. The tool battery is 18 to 20 volts. Grab our little meter. If you have an inexpensive meter like this, the first thing I recommend you do is to paint this indicator. It can either be a dot or an arrow on the ones that Harbor Freight sells. Make sure you color that, otherwise it's very easy to make a mistake. So for this test, we want to test the output of the solar panel and go up to 20 volts DC. We already know that positive is on the female connector. I'll stick that in there. And according to this, we're getting a little, there we go. We're getting just a little more than 20 volts. I'll go to 200. And there we go. At this moment, we're getting 21 volts. Sun is out. What does this battery say? It's a B&D. 18 volts. We can charge it with 21 volts. Let's see where the battery is now. The last time I checked it, it was at 8.7 volts. This was a discard from the store. Now, these results are amazing because I did not expect the results that we're going to get. Alright, got about 9 volts here. So that's our start voltage, 9 volts. Now we already know from other experimentation that this panel puts out 6 amps in direct sunlight. Well, we're not in direct sunlight right now. We're out here in the backyard. We're in partial shade. Nevertheless, I am afraid we're going to blow things up. So I have a little fuse holder here. I put in a 1 amp AGC glass fuse. AGC 1, just a little glass fuse like it shows in that picture. Okay, so we're going to monitor what will be going into this battery. And for that, we want to measure DC amps. So we'll change, notice where the dot is. We're going to change this to 10 amps DC. Right here. Yellow dot, 10 amps DC. And for that to work, we have to pull this red banana plug. Have to move it into the 10 amp DC socket. So volts would be the middle socket. Amps is this socket. Has to be moved. Okay, there we go. We're all set to measure amps now. Now how's this going to work? Okay, we're going to need some alligators. go. Now we're going to go positive to positive. Now we have to take the negative side of the panel and run that to the negative side of the battery. Now if we've done this right, this is going to measure the current coming from the panel. Now my fear had been, since that panel in direct sunlight can put out 6 amps, we don't want to charge this battery for too long at 6 amps. That's the reason for the 1 amp fuse. So if things go wrong, this 1 amp fuse will blow, but it doesn't blow. So let's connect it up and see what happens. Just have the positive stuck in there. So we're seeing only 20 milliamps right now. Sun just went behind a cloud. We're doing nothing at the moment. Certainly not going to overcharge this battery, not when the sun's behind the cloud. Now, let's also check what the battery voltage is. So for that, I'm going to use a second meter. So I have this meter on volts. I'm going to stick these in here, see if I can get contact. Yeah, that'll work. Well, we're already up to 18.74 volts. And we've only had this connected for a couple minutes in shade. And even though we're not putting much current in, obviously less than only about 10 milliamps, the panel is putting out 18 volts, and so that's why we're reading it right at the battery. This would have to go over 1 amp to blow the fuse, so we're only 1/100th of what this fuse is protecting. We are charging this battery. And since I've done this a couple of times already, it doesn't take very long for this battery to become usable again. I'd have thought that this would overheat and blow up, which is why the fuse is there, but it's working fine right off of this panel. Of course, I'm not in full sun here. Now, why is this important? Because in a grid down, not coming back anytime soon situation, it might be, you might need to recharge your portable power tools. And what could be easier than this? No battery bank needed, no charge controller needed, no inverter needed. Just runs right off the panel. Now, I know you're thinking, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that this little red Harbor Freight meter is not reading the amps correctly, that it must be malfunctioning. Alright, here's our trusty clamp meter. Turn this on, 40 amps DC. We'll zero it. There you go, I have to hold it down to get it zeroed. And we'll monitor this. It's this line right here coming off of the Harbor Freight meter. So they're showing 70 milliamps or so. 60 100th, 70, 6 100th, 7 100th, so that would be 70 milliamps, 60 milliamps. Let's see what this says. I'll get it perpendicular. Push the hold button. $70 milliamps. It's exactly the same. We're getting about 6 or 7 mils. That one's saying 3. Now they're very little difference between the two. And while we're playing with this, let's look at our voltage. Is the battery really up to 19 volts? Here's one way to find out. Just disconnected the solar panel. The fluke meter still shows that battery at 19.25 volts. So it looks like we could charge our power tools 100% off solar power by connecting the 20 volt panel directly to the 18 to 20 volt battery. And it does work. I would not have expected these results, but it does work. That's kind of amazing. I'm thinking you could leave this on charge for an hour or more. Charge your tool right off that panel. Fuse is not a bad idea, but we don't really need it. So let me do that. We'll come back in an hour and we'll see where we are. Well, it's only been about 20 minutes, but once again, the best laid plans of mice and men are about to go astray. We're minutes away from rain and a thunderstorm, so I'm going to wrap this up. Let's see where we are after 20 minutes. We're reading 19.20 volts off the panel. We'll break the circuit. Reading 18.92 volts off the panel, off the battery. So the battery is up to 18.8 volts or so. It's only been on charge for 20 minutes with very little current going into it. We've got to pack this up. What's it look like up there? Usually comes in from that direction. We're hearing quite a bit of thunder. So we'll cut this experiment short. I would say it's a success. I would say you can charge your power tool from one of these 100-watt Thunderbolt panels. Batteries seem to do quite well. It was very easy. You don't really need all this monitoring equipment. You could just connect the battery right up to it. That's the way it looks for right now, and the rain is coming down. So till next time, see ya.
Put everything in?
Yes, I did.
These upstairs closed?
Yes, they are.
Over the garage?
Yes, they are.